So the first thing that we really want to identify is the old world versus the new world of coaching. And, if you think about the old world of what many of you guys are used to, it's this concept of I'm going to invest time and money for information. And then the next part is then I have to figure out how to use the information, but essentially the coach's responsibility is done. And when I think of the new world of coaching, it is our responsibility as a company, as a team, to make sure that A, you implement what you learn, and B, for you to help understand what is important, what's not. One of the biggest learnings I've had through 15,000 coaching sessions, 16 years in real estate, is that no one has ever taken the time to share with somebody or create a system on how to implement what you've learned in group coaching. Because by the essence of it, people are like, oh my God, it's so much information. And, we'll get into now, you look at the golden triangle of coaching, right? There is mindset coaching, performance coaching, and tactical coaching. Mindset coaching is our ability to think through things differently than we presently do today. Meaning how you do it today is not how you are going to do it in the future if it what makes sense for you. So the idea of this is how I've always done it is a novel concept which will keep you in the same place, right? If you look at anything here at Compass, it is the world of thinking about things differently lead to exponential growth. So that's mindset coaching, our ability to think through things different than we do today. Now there's performance coaching. Performance coaching is really the art of getting things done. It's how do we prioritize our tasks? How do we time block them? And then how do we actually do them? And it has to do a lot to do with our schedule. Then there's actually tactical coaching. This is having all the things and actually taking the action and implementing what you learn. So as we go through our structure today, we're rolling out what we call the CSC implementation system. And our sessions are geared towards that golden triangle because that's essentially what our philosophy is as a company. If we can help you all think through what you're doing differently than you do today, help you understand how to prioritize your tasks, how to time block for them, how to put them in your schedule and the art of getting them done. And then the third part is supplement them with all the actual tactical things you need to take action. Then all of a sudden, it becomes really easy to implement. Now, let's start talking about how do you get the most out of coaching? So a couple things that I want to highlight. Number one, the idea or the responsibility of doing everything you learn every Monday and Tuesday as we give you a new topic is absolutely crazy. It is not something that I'm suggesting anyone ever do. Because your business is as unique as you are. Everyone's at a different place. Everyone has a different plan. Everyone has different goals. Now, the part about coaching, which is great, is you don't know what you don't know. So it's always good as just a way of consistent practice and self-improvement to show up to the sessions, right? Because it's good to hear. It's a good way to start your day. It's a good way to network. I see a lot of people actually have turned their cameras on today, which is incredible in itself because it's a see and be seen business, right? So we're at 6 out of 15 pages of people. And look, if you really want to get the most out of this, I'd show up and I'd be prepared. Get ready as if you're showing up to a business meeting. Number two, edit your Zoom settings, and we'll make a video of how to do this and put it in our platform of today's session where it says your name and where you're from, right? So Rob Lane, Austin, Texas. If I see Rob on here and I see Austin, Texas every day and his name, there is a thing, the way that your brain works called neuroassociation. It's the way your brain connects one thing to another. So if I see Rob Lane from Austin, Texas every single day, and now someone starts talking to me about Austin, Texas, whether I know it or not, I'm going to think about Rob Lane because I see him several times a week on here. So this is another way to get the most out of coaching. Now, the third part about this is understanding how to prioritize what you're learning. Right. So if you look at something, it might be something of high impact that you could work on today, right? This is something I want to do right away. Now, the second part is it's not something I want to do right away, but it's part of my plan. So I should do it in the near future. And the third part is it's not part of my plan in the immediate future, but it's something I want to do this year. So I need to prioritize it. Or four, this has nothing to do with my business, but it's good that I learned something new. So I hope we're all clear on like the ways that we want to think through these things, right? And we've literally built out an entire system for that. I'm just ending today's poll. And so now when we think about a session, right, how can we be most impactful for you? Well, number one, we're going to understand what your goal is. Number two, we're going to go through the actual training of the session. Number three, we're going to go through action steps. So I'll show you at the end what the action steps look like. And then number four, we're going to go through the implementation system, and we're going to make sure at the end of every session that you put the right things into this system so you know what you wanted to do, because there's never going to be a time more present till now at the end of a session or directly after that you're going to have your aha moment. Number two, we're going to help you prioritize when you take action with it. Number three, we're going to actually help you time block for it. And number four, we're going to put some accountability around it. So at the end of every session, it should be very easy to take action. And then we're going to provide you the deliverable to do it. So what does this actually look like? Today, I'm going through the actual session, right? And then in the end, I'm going to recap it for you, gift wrap it in a bow and hand it to you. I'm going to walk you through the action steps, and then I'm going to walk you through the deliverable. And then I'm going to show you what the sheet looks like that we're just finalizing and making a little prettier and automated as much as we can on what you need to do. So just as a pulse, in the chat, write clear or lost as to where you are and what I'm saying. Maybe the chat is disabled. So chat is disabled. Okay. So can I get a thumbs up for the people that think I'm clear? Okay, cool. Is this helpful for all of you? Because I find that when you go through these programs, people just jump into the program, right? And the essence of what you're signing up for is a result. And every time someone goes into coaching, it's another promise they made themselves for a change in their business and their life. And the only way that we can deliver that is to support you throughout the entire journey. The only thing I care about is that you actually take this stuff here and actually use it in your business, because that's what you signed up for. So let me go through what this actually looks like. And then I'll walk you through how the action steps would work. So let me just share my screen. Martha, give me a thumbs up if you could see this spreadsheet. Okay, cool. So look, in terms of doing this, right, we've automated this system where the first session is we're going to pre-fill out the session topics. Now, mind you, sometimes the session topics do change because of market updates, feedback. So it's easier for us just to give you everything, and then you have to update it, and we'll flag that accordingly. The content and the deliverable, right? This is what we're going to give you to take action. Now, the session date, obviously these will be pre-filled. Takeaway. Now, this is a really important section, right? Because everyone is listening through their own filter. Now, when you listen through your own filter, you're going to have your own specific actions. As much as I'd like to be a mind reader, I can't tell you all exactly what you want to learn and what you want to do, but this is your takeaway. Now, when you're building your takeaways and what your action steps are, you want to write this as if you went back to it 6, 8, 9 months, a year from now, it'd be very clear what to do. Now, then we made a drop down of priorities: low, medium, high, urgent, NA, NAAN, and I'll walk you through what that means. There's a status thing that shows you in progress, on hold, and complete, which is reflected on your dashboard. Time blocked. At the end of each session, I don't care when you want to do it. One of the challenges people have in group programs is, great, I don't want to do this right now. This has a lot more to do with what I want to focus on in the second half of the year. If you don't block time 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months from now, you'll forget about it. It won't be accounted for and everything else. That's why the sheet is built this way, right? So picture 6 months from now, going back and implementing something that you wanted to learn. Now, if you want to learn it effectively, what you're going to do is you have the right takeaway in here. You go back to your spreadsheet, you look at the session, the videos there if you want to watch it, and everything else on our platform, and it becomes really simple. Now, date completed, right? You want to write when you do it. And we're also going to build in, we also want to build in we're going to update this to say target date and actual date. So the reason that we want to do this is as the year goes on, you want to look for patterns in productivity. You want to see, am I keeping the promises I made to myself? I said that I would do this by next Monday and I did it 2 weeks after that. Then the question is why? Are you A, doing too much? B, are you inconsistent? But this is the way that we can all start learning what our own habits are through self-awareness, right? So this is our implementation system. I could not be more excited about this because I personally feel that in all the feedback that I have, this is the gap for everybody, right? So look, you don't need to go to every session to get value out of a coaching program. Like people have this FOMO and they tell us like, well, if I don't attend all the sessions, I don't know if I'm going to get it. Listen, in the end of the day, real estate coaching is really simple. The metrics are in your favor. If you do one deal, you get an insane amount of return on your investment. But that's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to take the things that are most relevant to you throughout the year based on your business plan and implement the things you need and not be confused and overwhelmed. There should be nothing overwhelming about this just because you're getting a lot of good information. We had so many people when we called for feedback said there's too much good information. I don't know what to do. Fine. Well, this is how we prioritize it, right? Because after this, it becomes really, really simple. So that now let's walk through like what this actually means. So if you look at this, priority legend, low. I want to implement, but it's not in my current business plan. So that's 4 to 6 months away, right? So if I was doing this today and it was a low priority, I would say maybe 4 months away or 6 months away. I would put a time block for 30 minutes or an hour to do this. And I would write review session on coaching implementation system. See if I'm at blank place, because you'll know that, to implement blank and blank are the takeaways, right? So when you go in your calendar and you look at it in 6 months from now, you're like, what the hell is this time block? You actually know what it is. Medium priority means you want to implement it within the next 30 to 90 days. It's a good supplement for what you're doing. It's not something that you need to implement today because it's got kind of maximum impact. Now, if you look at high, this means you're going to do this in the next 14 to 30 days. It has a high impact. It's something you want to prioritize doing, but it's not something that you necessarily need to drop everything to do. Now, urgent, going to do this in my weekly coaching block, generally within the next 7 days, right? So we tell everyone you should have a standing 1-hour block at the end of every week to implement what you did during coaching. If something is urgent, you're putting that into that time block. So in the descriptions of your Google Calendar, you want to get used to writing down what you're doing. And then you just simply open up the sheet. Now, NA means not applicable to my business and not something that I'm going to go back to. We want to help you identify the things that are not part of your business, right? Because as you look at this sheet, you should look at it every day. You'll be like, oh, okay, these aren't topics to go back to. Now you can understand even when you go to other places and people are talking about those topics, those aren't good sessions for you to attend. And then NAM, not applicable now, not applicable at this time, but something to go back to in the future. Right. So when you go back at the end of a quarter, you want to look at all your NANNs and be like, wow, is this relevant for the next quarter? So that is the sheet. And now let's go through what action steps look like, right? So this is a doc that we're going to provide to you at the end of every coaching session. Now, I know that during coaching, everything sounds exciting. I can see Susie smiling, excited, fun. I'm going to do this. And there's a thing that happens when you leave coaching. It's called reality. You have phone calls, emails, text messages, family members, partners, life, and other things. And to get yourself back to the state and the mindset you're in when you felt that this was all easy and excited about can be quite hard. So let me walk you through this. The coaching implementation was created to solve several key challenges agents have to maximize impact of coaching. Feeling like they're drinking out of a fire hose. We've addressed that. Not knowing what to implement and when. We've addressed that. Prioritizing what they're learning in coaching in alignment with their business plan. We've done that. The coaching systems will help agents simply prioritize what they're learning in coaching, how to implement what they're learning now and in the future, and take the most important step, which is time blocking for implementation. I will be having you open your calendars every single day when we do this. I watched a lot of the great ideas actually have been out of music, movies, and TV shows, because it's interesting when you see these plot lines and how things form. And I remember several months ago, I was watching a movie, and I'm really big into like action movies. And there was like a hostage situation. What they did, they literally sucked the air out of the room so that the people were forced to come out. And then in that moment, like I took out my notebook and I just started writing and writing and writing. And I keep a notebook near my bed because I suggest everyone does. You have great ideas when you're sleeping or you're staying up at night or you're anxious, and it just helps to write. And I realized in that same moment that we had to do that for all of you. We had to eliminate every single last step, like taking the air out of the room between you and implementing what you learned in your business. So that's why time blocking. So there's an overview here, right? The date, the session, the takeaway. And the takeaway is, what action did you want to take as a result of your session for your business? EX, call 5 clients with script, send 5 notes, complete data sheet. Priority, we redid it here. The next step is time block, completing your calendar, accountability date. I'll complete it by this action. And Tiff, we just want to reflect these 3 things on here as the accountability piece. Work completed on when you've implemented what you've learned. Then we go into the action steps, right? Step 1, at the end of each of your coaching sessions or immediately after pulling up your implementation session. So right after this, or during it, ideally when I do it, because the last 5 to 6 minutes we're going to spend on this every day. Number 2, fill in your key takeaways. These are the specific actions you're going to take after the session, specific to your business based on what you learned. The key part to this is making takeaways are as specific as possible. Write your takeaways as if you're going to look at them months later and still have them make sense. Remember, guys, this is the part about mindset coaching, thinking about things through differently, paired with performance coaching. Because if we understand how to take notes and write them in a way that we could revisit them 4 months later. If you've ever attended our events, look at the workbook. This is how we engineer everything. And people keep our books now for 1.5 years because all the steps are there. And we have you take notes, which really anchors and triggers your mind into a specific moment. Number 4, go into your calendar and set a time block to implement your takeaways. The goal is to get time into your calendar and then follow through on the promise you made yourself. If you have a hard time implementing and working on this, it's a great time to reach out to fellow CSC community members and set up an accountability session to work on. One of the things that we'll do at the end is put a sign-up form for who wants accountability. And what we're looking to do is build out one spreadsheet that all of you can go on. And there's 3 things that people want with agent-to-agent networking. Number 1 is an accountability session. What is an accountability session? I'm going to look at, let's see, who here can I look at random? If I'm looking at Patty in Illinois, good morning, Patty. Smile, life is good. So if I'm looking at Patty and I'm like, all right, maybe I want to connect with her. She's on the sheet. She wants to do accountability. Well, accountability would be the 2 of us getting on a Zoom call like this for 30 minutes or an hour and literally just exchanging a minute or 2 of pleasantries and then just sitting down and doing the work. What we know about accountability is that people show up better for other people than they do themselves. And by virtue of you protecting your professional reputation, when you show up to the call, you do the work. But now we know that there are a couple steps in this, right? Now, if Patty wants to reach out to somebody, what do I email them? Susie says, what do I email back? What's the session like? We're going to build you the email that Patty sends, the email that Susie sends, and then what the session looks like. The 2 other areas are role playing, like practicing scripts, and the third part is networking. So we're going to build all this stuff out for you. So step 5, set up an accountability date for completing work. Step 6, when the work is completed, go back and note when it's completed. You're looking to see if you follow through on your time block and accountability date. This will help you find ways to improve throughout the year and make sure you feel good about the promises you make yourself. So how does that sound to all of you? So look in the chat. This is epic. We have 363 people here. Smile for an Instagram photo, everybody. Everyone wave. Great. Wait, one more time. 1, 2, 3, go. Cool. So please take a moment right now for those of you who want to do accountability and sign up for the sheet. The sheet is in the chat box. And Tiff, do we want to re-enable the chat just so if people have any questions, they could drop them in there?
Yep, sounds good. And this is also in the platform in your resource library if you guys can't access the link in the chat as well.
So our entire experience here is created for you to take what you learn in your business. So does anyone have any questions about how this all works based on what I shared today? I always knew I was fairly decent at doing this, but if no one has any questions, I find that hard to believe. Everybody's good then.
The team might still be working on undisabling the chat. I'm not sure. Give it a sec.
Okay. So look, while you do this, your life becomes really simple. You show up to the session, you share your goal of the session, listen through the filter of how can I implement this into my business. We go through a recap. We'll go through the action steps. You take out your form, you time block. Does anyone have any questions about this? Yes. So the share will be in the platform by the end of the day. So you just make a copy of it. The sessions will be filled out as well as the drop downs will be there. This will be so easy.
As you guys saw, there's a few edits that we're making. So I myself will be making those edits, making the sheet look really good for you guys. And then it'll be in the platform. You'll see it on the session video page, as well as in your resource library. And you'll all have your own version of the spreadsheet. So you don't have to worry about messing up anyone else's version. But give me the day so I can make it nice and finalize it based on everything.
So a couple things. Let's make a video on how to download this and save it on their computers. And do we use the sheet in the platform or save to personal drives? So those are good FAQs that we'll provide with this. So we'll show you how to download it, how to save it. I would just put this into your Compass account, right? Because it's one place that you're logging into every day. The goal of being productive is not logging into multiple different systems.
Yep. And honestly, for those that use Excel, unfortunately, because we're part of the Compass community, we're on Google just like they are. A lot of this stuff doesn't translate when you download into Excel. So try to use it within the Google Sheets platform in your Compass or your personal Gmail accounts. Excel and Google just don't love each other. So it's tough. Yes, it's always a Google Sheet. Everything we'll do here will be on the Google platform. So you'll always be within the Compass ecosystem.
So in terms of Lori, in terms of Linda, in terms of action steps for each session, we'll build out like a template just like this. And then in your takeaways is where you make it specific to you. Where do we recommend you take notes? If you're a handwritten person, I would get one journal or one notebook and do it in there. If you're not a handwritten person, I would just open up one Google Doc and I would put the session date in there and I would take notes in there as well. In terms of the agent accountability, we're going to be spending the week building this out. So it'll be the team. Tiff, where's the agent directory going to live? In the resource section?
So there's sort of two things going on here. There's the full playbook member directory, which you guys already have access to. If you go to the community tab in the menu, there is a member directory that's already there for you with everyone's information. For specifically people who want to join fellow agents to stay accountable, fill out the sheet, which I will pop back in the chat again. That will put in the platform in the resource library as part of this sort of directory of specific to accountability. And that's optional. It's just if you want a buddy to help stay accountable or multiple buddies, it'll be there for you guys to create those partnerships, get on weekly Zooms, have a group chat, go to, create a workplace group, whatever is most comfortable for how you guys want to stay accountable.
Okay, so I'm seeing these questions come in. What do we do? How do we do it? This is exactly why we did it this way. You can do this with anyone or everyone, right? Their networking and the community, I would say, is the best part of being here. There's so many people that have built amazing friendships, relationships, exchange referrals. So like, look, there are a lot of people that still have standing accountability groups from 2 years ago, right? So in doing this, if it works for you, it works for you. If not, again, this is not a thing that we have everyone do. A big takeaway I want you all to take from today is a couple of things. Number one, just because I said it doesn't mean you have to do it today. Just because I said it doesn't mean you need to do it, right? You need to be present to what your needs are. Like if I look at Tiff on my team, she does not need any accountability. You just need to tell her what to do, and then she just wants to be left alone to do it, right? There are other people I know, like when I like doing work, I like working on projects with another person. So I'll have someone hop on a Zoom because my thoughts are kind of interesting at times, and they just need to be like kind of dialed in, right? So that's what works for me. So you have to understand what works for you. Right? If you can do your work by yourself, you do not need an accountability session, right? If you make time blocks, you keep the promises you make to yourself and everything else, you do not need an accountability session for anything. Now, if you choose to do it for relationship purposes and say, hey, I'm really good at getting work done, I'm going to host an accountability group. So if people want to do it, and I can share some of my practices and hold people accountable and build community and relationships for referrals through that, then that's fine too. But it's really simple. You show up to the session, listen through the filter of your business, fill out the CSC implementation system, put the time in your calendar to do the things that are important to you, and that's it. That is the simplicity of this program. And then everything else, the deliverables, emails, we're all doing it for you. This is the first of its kind in the industry, true plug and play system, where there is never anything that we're telling you to do without giving you all the stuff. So in terms of where are we getting the form, I'm going to leave you guys, my team, on for a few minutes just to answer some of these questions. It seems that some people have questions about adding sessions, where the forms are, and everything else. So look, as I always say this with love in my heart, I love you all. And look, when you look in the mirror, just know everything that you need is right here. It's all in here. It's all in your heart. You have everything you need for everything you want. Now, the only gap is a simple thing. It's putting time in your schedule and keeping the promises you make to yourself. And the most important promise is the one you make yourself. So when you sought 30 minutes to 60 minutes to do something, make sure that you do it. Nothing is more important than that. Because if you're able to prioritize your highest value tasks and what you're doing, everything else gets better. But if you keep getting distracted and working transactionally is the opposite of scale. When you work at scale, you're working at growth, right? If you're working at transactions, you're just working at one thing all the time. My goal is to put more money in your bank account and take the amount of time you work and put it down. So income goes up, time goes down, and the gap that's created is you can live more life. So I hope that inspires some of you guys to think about this a little differently. You know, our job is to make this as easy for you as possible. And we'll be reading your comments, your feedback, and there's a lot more fun stuff to come, because I pride myself in being like Willy Wonka, where behind every corner is something new and exciting. And my team is party to that, good, bad, and indifferent. So thank you for my team and everyone that's on here. And if you have a question, stay on and I'll help you. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow. And we're doing this session again at 12:30 if you want to hear it again, or if you want to hop on earlier and network with everybody. So I hope everyone has a powerful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Chirag. I'll stay on. There's a couple of questions I wanted to just quickly address. Just be very mindful of how we call things, because things can get very muddled. And Chirag has a habit of talking very quickly. So sometimes you'll hear something and be like, wait, I didn't get that. The form is the form to sign up for accountability. The sheet for the implementation that he went over today that you will be getting will be sent to you. Will not be sent to you. It will be posted in the platform by the end of the day. So the form is already in the chat. We can pop it in the chat again. I can paste the link. This is, again, if you want to network with other agents and stay accountable, that is the form. But the sheet will be in the platform by the end of the day. I have to take Chirag's notes and make some edits before I give it to you guys so that it's ready for you all. Awesome, Luciana. Any other questions I can answer? If you're having specific issues in the platform, as always, email my team. They are online, ready to help. There's a lot of questions this morning and a lot of people looking to sign up to join you guys. So we're a little bit backed up, but we should be able to get to everyone today. And then for any sessions, you guys will always go to the sessions and events menu item in the platform, and you'll have to add all of those to your calendar there. There's links to add all of Chirag's to your Google Calendar, but every other expert mentor session, you will have to go through and add those individually. So just a note there. As far as what we recommend for accountability, I think Stephanie and a couple others asked you about this within your team. If you feel like you can stay accountable by just having a team specific accountability session, I think that's great. I think it's also great to bring in other agents for other perspectives, because you may have gotten something different out of what another agent may have gotten. So we don't have any specific recommendation. It's really how best you guys work and how comfortable you are and what your time looks like, because it will require you to spend some time with other agents. Awesome. If you guys emailed us and we haven't gotten back to you, we will get back to you today. We are a 1 business day general turnaround. Sometimes it turns into 2, but we do not usually respond on weekends. So if you emailed us on Friday, give us the day to respond back to you, and we'll definitely get back to you guys. Can you show us step-by-step how to download the link from a chat? I would just highlight it and copy and paste it. If the chat is open, you should be able to click it. If it's not open, you should be able to highlight it and copy and paste it. Abby, does that make sense? Unless you mean from the platform. Thank you, Jessica. It sounds like you understood her question better than I did. Got it. Abby, anytime we provide you a link, it will always be to make a copy if it's something that we want you guys to have your own version of. So if there is a link that we're sending you, it will say make a copy ? As soon as you click it, and you'll say yes. And that already is going to be in your Google account, not ours. So it will always be it'll always be in your account. We will never give you something that is ours specifically. Patty, for how the groups will be formed. So we're not forming the groups this time. There was, unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way when we tried to force you all into groups last season. So we will be providing the group information. So if you guys want to look at the directory of accountability and see like, oh, sweet, this person, Jessica in Naples, really wants to be in a group chat to stay accountable. So do I. You guys can reach out, and Jessica's giving me the thumbs up. You can text Jessica and you guys can start that accountability group on your own, but we are not going to be fully facilitating. Of course, if you guys need help, like how do I create a recurring Zoom link or a Google Meet or whatever you might need help with, our team is very familiar with that kind of stuff and we're happy to advise. But we're kind of leaving it in your hands this time to really collaborate in a way that works for you. And that might be in-person meetings. If you guys are in a similar area and you want to get together monthly, you're welcome to do that as well. Awesome. All right, I'm pregnant and I gotta go to the bathroom, so I have to hop off, you guys. Let us know if you need anything else. Email cscommunity@chiragshahcoaching.com. Have a wonderful Monday. See you guys all next time.